Welcome back, dear viewers, to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing Revoltech's amazing Yamaguchi Eijiro-Karashima, also known as Red Riot, the bonus accessory version. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Here's our look at the front of the box. Just like with most of the new releases, switching to this new design with less photos, and you also got the pictures on the side, which you might notice the box is a little bit thinner than most of the newer ones that have been coming out. You also got that official sticker right there, so you can know if it's official. Here's the barcodes on the bottom. If you want to scan those, go ahead and do so. And then on the top we have the MHA logo and just the name of the character on the right. And here's a look at the tray outside of the box. As you can see, it actually is more condensed than usual, having the stand actually be visible in the first tray instead of having a whole other separate one. As you can see right here, the extra swappable eyes instead of all just swappable face plates, along with the instructions is actually slipped in down here, which I'm not used to it being there. Usually it's just floating around somewhere in the box. Here's a better look at those instructions. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to take a look at them now. One last detail about the box I thought was interesting is the fact that the material they're using inside the box is different from the newer release ones, which I thought was weird since this is also a new release, but they're different still. And now here's a look at the bonus accessory that's a web exclusive to Kaiyodo or any Japanese website that carried it. As you can see, it has an instructions manual, which I always find funny when it's something this simple that's just a swappable headpiece. I actually really don't know what the technical name for something like this, the headgear or just mask, I don't know what you would call it, but let me know. And here's our first good look at the figure outside of the packaging, which man does he look good. Kaiyodo has been killing it with most of their releases lately, just with Marvel, DC, and anime included. That's not to say that there isn't any problems with these sets, and we'll get into it in just a second. But right before we do all that, let's take a look at all of the accessories he comes with. Starting off with the first accessory, it's actually technically more than one piece. It's this whole other half of a body, actually. But the thing that I don't understand is why they decided to do it this way. I'm glad they did give him an unbreakable form, but instead of just making it a swappable half top, they make it so you actually had to individually take every plate off to swap it with the ones that are already on the figure. And it's weird because like the arms are posable, the neck is posable, it's just the ab right here that can't move at all. And it's just really weird that they decided to make it this way when it's much more complicated. And now you have to deal with that awful seam that's in between the figure. Now here's a look at the extra swappable hands and arm they come with, which I'm actually quite surprised at looking all of these. I thought, well, I guess there's not much they could have given him, but then I realized there's one iconic move that he does a lot in the anime, being the straightforward hands that he kind of turns his arms into blades, and that's something he's seen done a lot in the anime. Heck, even the McFarlane figure of this character got that right and even gave him those hands, but Yamaguchi somehow skipped out on that, even Figma. So you're telling me the cheapest company out of the three gave us the straight hands that he's seen doing in several parts of the anime, but somehow the big dogs missed out on that. Now let's take a look at the extra eyes he has, which there are 5 of them in total, a special tool that you can use to remove them, or probably his face guard as well, and that little extra black peg in case the arm one breaks, I believe. Now, something I don't like usually is the individual eyes because they can get lost so easily, but I do like the option of having more dynamic faces. Moving on, we also have the extra swappable heads, being 2, which he actually has this one as his default. I just swapped it on for the other face looking to the side, which both of these ones are just printed on. The only one that has removable eyes is the one with sharp teeth, which really sucks because if you wanted the smiling face just looking forward, that's not an option. Or if you just want a normal vanilla looking forward face and you wanted it being able to look left or right, that's not an option. And last but not least, the Kaiyodo stand. Nothing special, nothing too crazy, comes with almost every single one, has a peg to plug straight into the back of the figure, and also has an extra swappable one if you want to use it on a figure that isn't by Kaiyodo. Now it's time to take a look at the articulation on this guy. First starting off in the hindquarters, he has these like flaps that can open up, being his like kind of skirt. They do look weird when you have them spread out. I get they're supposed to have that like flying motion, but it just leaves that horrible gap right there. For the leg, I really don't like that big old gap that is in his knee. Wish they would have used one of the different joints they've been using with their other guys. Now, something that just feels a little weird about this figure and familiar is the legs. They feel a lot like the Figma ones. Like, I know they're based off the same figure, like same character, but they feel very similar. Only difference is having that little silver dot. I do not like them. Do not like those being on the figure. Oh, would you look at that? Let's pop that bad boy back on. Now for the ab crunch, I actually think it's pretty good. Really the best one out of all of the Red Riot figures I've seen. It's Yamaguchi, they've been doing good. Looking up forward, it's not too bad, but his neck, I don't know if the guard's supposed to look like that. And the hairpiece, It has a little hinge joint right there, so you can move it up and down. You can push it a little bit further, so you can get him looking up a little bit more. And for the arm, it's kind of one of the weirdest, most wonkiest sides. And again, I felt this just like my Figma one. It was a little awkward, but you could still get some motion out of it because the gear-looking shoulder pads are actually attached to the arms. And yeah, everything else is just pretty subpar and standard. Now, I guess it's only fair that we cover the articulation on the Unbreakable form, even though there's only half a figure here. Now, the main thing is that there's this cut on the forearm where instead of having a wrist joint, because there is none, since they want to keep it like that seamless design, which I understand that's fine for this design. I do feel like when I try to move the arm up, it does pop off, just like you see right there. It can pop in back and just fine, but still a little annoying that it does that. And of course, like we already covered before, there is no ab crunch. You cannot get that thing to move. Now, for swapping the parts out, it's really kind of just like taking apart a Lego. It's just really messy and it leaves a lot of parts laying around. I really do not understand why they went with this design choice for the figure. It just really ends up looking really horrifying and weird. And just like Legos, once you tear them all apart, you can pop them right back into place whichever way you want. Although, you can't just put this any way you want. You have to put it back in a certain way or else it's still going to leave that seam, and even as much as I may try, it still does not want to get on fully and still leaves a little bit of that seam showing, which I do not like that on figures. Now, with all the articulation and the accessories over, I do think this figure is really cool, and I think it is the best Riot out there. I just feel like there's a lot of things they could have done to really make this figure excellent and awesome and amazing, since the name, Amazing Yamaguchi. I just feel like it's not living up to that name exactly. It's still, again, the best one that's out, and I would recommend this, especially if you already have any other figure from the My Hero line for Yamaguchi, but still, it's just not hitting the mark. Here's also the height comparison to the Red Riot to the Bakugo figure from Yamaguchi, which he's a little bit shorter, but that is actually apparently accurate to the anime. I did think he was supposed to be shorter, but nope, Bakugo is actually the taller one. Here's also Todoroki from Yamaguchi compared to Red Riot, and here's also a comparison of All Might compared to Red Riot. And lastly, here's a comparison to all of the different Red Riots from all of the different companies, being from McFarlane, Kaiyodo, and Figma. And that is going to have to wrap it up for this review. Overall, I still think it's a really awesome figure, and I think it's worth the purchase. Just feel like there's a little bit more effort they could have put it in to really make it earn that name of being amazing. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and if you are interested in trying to get him with the bonus accessory, it does look like Hobby Ginky does have a few left on their website, so if you want to, go check out that. I'll put it in the pinned comment below. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.